My name is Dawn Scott, and this is my husband Eldon. We are the parents of 20-year-old Madison Scott. Our daughter Maddie was last seen on Saturday, May 28th out at Hogsback Lake, just south of our hometown of Vanderhoof. While we continue to receive outstanding support from our friends and the community, and the RCMP continues to follow up on information and tips, we have not been able to locate our daughter.
The tent was still standing when the sun came up over Hogsback Lake. Its entrance flap hung open, unmoving in the cold morning air. Nearby, a white Ford F-150 sat parked exactly where it had been left the night before. Nothing appeared disturbed. Nothing appeared wrong. Except Madison Scott was gone. Just hours earlier, the lake had been alive with noise, music echoing through dense forest, laughter bouncing off dark water, dozens of young people celebrating a birthday party that happened every year in the same remote place. By dawn, the party had vanished, leaving behind empty bottles, dying embers, and one abandoned campsite that didn't make sense. Madison Geraldine Scott was 20 years old. She was born on April 29th, 1991, and raised in Vanderhoof, British Columbia, a small town surrounded by vast wilderness, where roads stretch endlessly through forest and silence. She grew up alongside her siblings, Ben and Georgia, in a tight-knit family led by her parents, Dawn and Eldon Scott. Madison, known to everyone as Maddie, was social, impulsive, and energetic. She loved people. She joined sports teams just to be around others. She liked dirt biking, horse riding, and working with her hands. At the time she disappeared, she was apprenticing as a heavy-duty mechanic in the logging industry, working alongside her father. On Friday, May 27, 2011, Maddie packed her truck and drove to Hogsback Lake with a friend, Geordie Baldock. They weren't especially close, but they had recently reconnected and decided to camp together at the party. Nearly 50 people showed up that night. Most were locals between 18 and 25. A few strangers filtered in. The event had been publicly posted, and in a town like Vanderhoof, there wasn't much else happening. Hogsback Lake was small, isolated, and surrounded on all sides by thick forest. There were no cabins, no streetlights, no nearby homes. Sometime near midnight, a fight broke out. The mood shifted. One by one, people began leaving. Madison stayed. Between 11 p.m. and 12:30 a.m., she exchanged text messages with her father. She hadn't been drinking much. She settled into her tent and prepared to sleep. Geordie continued drinking by the campfire. Around 1:30 a.m., she decided to leave with her boyfriend. Before going, she stopped by Maddie's tent and told her she was heading out. Madison wasn't happy about being left alone. Geordie offered her a ride, but Maddie declined. She didn't want to leave her truck and camping gear unattended. Others leaving the area noticed Maddie was still there. Several asked if she wanted to go with them. Each time, she said no. Witnesses later said she appeared sober, calm, and comfortable staying the night. By around 2:45 a.m., the campsite was quiet. Madison was last seen inside her tent. By morning, she'd vanished. At 8:30 a.m., Geordie returned to Hogsback Lake to retrieve items she'd left behind. She was in a hurry and didn't think much of it at first. Maddie's truck was still there. Her tent was still standing. Maddie wasn't. Geordie grabbed her belongings and left for work. Later that morning, others from the party arrived to clean up the site. They noticed the same thing. The tent, the truck, no Madison. That night, a second party took place at the lake, larger than the first. Friends expected to see Maddie. She never showed up. Her phone rang unanswered until the battery died. Only then did the reality sink in. Madison's parents went to the lake themselves. They hoped to find her frustrated but safe, maybe asleep in her truck, maybe stranded nearby. Instead, they found her campsite exactly as she'd left it. The truck was locked. The tent had been flattened at some point during the second night's party. Inside were all of Madison's belongings, clothes, personal items, everything except two things, her phone and her truck keys. Police were called and Madison Scott was officially reported missing.
Hi, I'm calling. My daughter is 20. We're out at Hogsback, and I haven't heard from her since Friday night. And we just came out, and our pickup is here in the vehicle, and people haven't seen her at all.
Okay, what's her name?
Madison Scott.
And what's her date of birth?
April 29th, 91.
So she was last heard from on Friday?
Friday night, yes.
Okay.
All of her stuff's here, but yeah, I don't know.
Where does she live? With you?
Yes, with us in Vanderhoof.
Does she have a vehicle with her?
The vehicle is here, yes. We are out at Hogsback. I talked to her Friday night, and then we just haven't heard from her yesterday, and her cell phone has been dead.
The truck has been there all the time?
The truck, yes, it has been. We're at the truck and the tent right now.
And no answer on her cell?
No answer. It's been dead, it seems, since yesterday.
A massive search followed. Police, firefighters, volunteers, divers, dogs, helicopters. Everything was deployed. The lake was searched, the forest combed, sonar swept the water. Nothing turned up. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no torn fabric, no footprints. It was as if Madison had stepped out of her tent and vanished into the night. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Posters spread across British Columbia. Tips came in. Party-goers were interviewed, some given polygraphs. Every lead went cold. Madison was never found. Her disappearance haunted Vanderhoof, a town near Highway 16, the infamous Highway of Tears, where countless women had vanished or been murdered over decades. Madison disappeared in the same region. Years passed. Violence continued. Questions remained unanswered. Then, 12 years later, everything changed. In June 2023, 12 years and 1 day after she vanished, RCMP announced human remains had been found on a rural farm about 18 kilometres from Hogsback Lake. They were Madison's. She had been found far from where she'd disappeared, in a place she could not have reached on her own.
12 years, but today there was a major break in the disappearance of a young woman in northern BC. The remains of Madison Scott have now been found.
12 long years, and you know, it's comforting in some ways to know, but obviously thinking of Maddie and missing that part of our community.
Yesterday, RCMP revealed a major breakthrough in the case, announcing they found Scott's remains. They won't say where or how, but they say they have a search warrant on a rural property west of Prince George.
Her case was no longer just a disappearance. The investigation is ongoing. No cause of death, no charges. But one thing is clear. Madison Scott did not vanish into nothing. She was taken, and the truth waited 12 years in silence.